using the CQ Researcher database to initiate Presearch. So if we want to start pre-searching a topic, there are several ways that we can go about doing this. And one of the ways that I really like is to actually go to the library website and then do some pre-search within that particular site. So if I want to do that by going to bgsu.edu website, and then I scroll down to the bottom of the page. Once I get to the bottom of the page, I'm going to go ahead and connect to the library. Once I'm at the library, I'm going to go ahead and click on Search and Find, and then on All Databases. Now, since I know the database that I'm going to be looking for, it's really quite simple from here. All I have to do is click on C for the CQ Researcher, scroll down, and then click on where it says Connect, right by the CQ Researcher database. Now, there are obviously lots of databases within the BGSU library system, and there are lots of topics that can be gleaned from within those databases. So it's really important that before you go much further in this particular process, that you ask your instructor if he or she has any banned topics. For example, in my GSW classes and in many others, we don't let you write about topics that we feel are very overdone, with which there's little to add to the debate. I don't allow my students to write about abortion or gun control. And that's not because I really care about their stance on these particular issues. It's just that they've been done and redone and overdone for decades. And quite honestly, there are much more current, interesting topics that can be talked about. The idea is that if we ban overused issues, because let's face it, a lot of people already have a very clear idea of their stance on those issues, it forces a student to discover new and interesting arguments to which they can add something new. So really, your goal when finding a topic for your research essay should be to find something that's interesting and significant to whose conversation you can add. And this is really the whole idea behind a research essay. Okay, so let's go back to CQ Researcher. Within this particular database, there are lots of possible places where you could find a topic. And the thing to keep in mind as you're conducting pre-search is that this is pre-research. You're looking for ideas. You're not looking for all of the sources. You might not find any sources within your pre-search, simply an idea, and that's perfectly fine. So one of the places where I like to look is in the hot topics. Now you'll notice if we look at these hot topics, one of the very first ones listed is abortion. Again, if your teacher says you're not going to do that topic, you're not going to do it. You'll also notice that there's gun control in that particular topic. Dude, I'm not going to allow you to do it. Find something else. So if I'm looking for something that is not going to be overdone, I want to look for something within my major. Okay? And this makes a lot of sense because if you're within a specific major, like education, like biology, like whatever, you're probably interested in topics within that particular area. So if you're interested in that, why not write a paper about it? In this case, I'm an education major, so I'm going to check out education and see what's there. Once I get to this website, the first article that's here is about the Common Core. Now, I can go ahead and read through the article, and folks, you need to read the articles all the way through. Read through the article, see what's going on. As I read through this article, I find that it has a lot of cool information, but it's just really not floating my boat. I'm not really interested in it. So if that's the case, move on. That's why this is called pre-search. We're going to keep searching until we find a topic that's significant and interesting and to which I can add something new. This topic just isn't going to do it for me. So I go back to the hot topics list, and again, I'm looking for something that I find interesting. That's really the kicker at this point. I want something interesting. And as I look through the list, I see this thing, science and technology. Now, this is something that's always been interesting to me. You know, it's not my major, but I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it just to see what we find, because if I don't give it a try, I'll never know what's there. When I click on science and technology, I find this really cool article about billions of Earth-like planets. So are there really tons of planets that exist that are like Earth that could sustain life? I think that is crazy interesting. But as I think about it and I read through the article, I'm not really sure that this is the kind of argument that I could get into and stay with for several weeks. After all, if I'm writing my research essay on this topic, I'm going to be dealing with it for probably 2 months or so. So I don't think this is really what I want to write about. So I'm going to go backtrack and see if I can find something else. So another place that I can look for topic in the CQ Researcher databases is if I go to where it says Browse Topic. So you'll notice if I click on this particular link, there's another whole list of possibilities. If I find something interesting there that I think might work, click on it, see where it takes me. I can also look under Browse Reports. Are organized is by pro-con. So if I've got a specific issue, it's going to tell me straight out what are both sides of this argument. Where does that argument exist? And it gives me a good sense of what argument is there and possibly what side I might take. So if I click on pro-con, I then get a whole list of topics. So this offers me a detailed look at a more specific issue. So for example, if I go ahead and click on where it says colleges and universities, dude, I'm in a college, so it makes sense. That might be interesting to me. I find that there's a really interesting debate about college tuition. If I click on the link there, I'm going to get to an article where it very clearly lays out both sides of the argument. I've got two respected experts in this topic giving me their opinion. And that's really important because it shows me the argument. And as I read through this whole thing, I say, wow, this is so interesting, but I really don't know much about college tuition. I know that I don't like paying it, and I'd really love it if somebody else paid it for me. But beyond that, I'm really clueless. Now, don't let that frighten you, because if you've got an interesting topic, that's really what you want to research. If you already know everything about a topic, that's fine. But learning about something new and cool, that's the crux of academic argument and research. Find something new, learn something new, become engaged with it. I think I might go with this topic. Remember, as you're doing Presearch, that it does not take the place of research. You'll notice that within this quick 5 to 7 minutes, we may have found a topic, but we certainly haven't found all of our sources. While I might be able to use a little bit of the information in CQ Researcher as my research, I'm certainly not going to use all of it. I'm going to supplement that with tons of other stuff from other places. Remember that Presearch allows you to begin to understand the issues involved in your research question. So in order for something to truly be a debate, to truly be a topic for research, there's got to be a debate going on. Presearch will help you understand the multiple sides of an argument. So what could possibly be an argument about college tuition? Read the article and you'll find out. You'll also get a bigger background of the theories related to your topic, and that's important when you're trying to make people understand and agree with you on the position that you're taking. You can also see some possible answers to your research question. And again, more research will help you develop those answers, but at least you've got to start. The final thing that Presearch allows you to do is to decide what issues and information you need to continue researching. Any issue that's really big, that's worth your time, is going to have multiple sides. It's going to have multiple issues within that issue. This really helps you narrow it down. You need to make sure that you continue Presearching until you find an issue that's significant, relevant, and arguable. You'll notice within this brief demonstration, we've looked at 3 possible topics. And it obviously didn't take me long to figure out one that I think will work, but even that may not work. So if I need to stop, start over, backtrack, redo the whole darn process, that's fine. That's part of the deal. Keep in mind that Presearch is supposed to pique your interest and get the research process started. It does not take the place of research. It's really about getting an idea. Once you've found your interesting, significant, debatable issue, then the search for current, credible academic sources begins. So Presearch is part of the research process, but it certainly doesn't take the place of it.